welcome back. So we've cut out our tulip and we have our Fusamats. These are great little mats. They're silicone. They're kind of an industrial grade. So we have these available for sale in all different sizes. You'll see those in the link below. But the reason I like to use them is because when I taught this class in Florida, I used some of the hotel ironing board, the fusible stuff that we're gonna be, because we're turning these into a sticker. It came,
kind of seeped out.
We want to avoid that. So what we're gonna do is take our scissors. This is our Heat and Bond light that we're using. It's like a feather light. So that glossy sticky side is up. So we're gonna lay the glossy side up, the paper side down on our Fusamat. We're gonna lay the flower onto that glossy side, okay? Now, don't get shook if your whole flower doesn't fit on this, because it doesn't have to. Once we place the bouquet, you know, fusing that down to the canvas once you decide how you want it, so the whole thing does not have to have the Heat and Bond on it. Just enough to kind of keep it in place, because we'll be sewing that down. So we take our hot iron, and then we just kind of press our flower. So our design that we want is right side up. I like to kind of steam it too. Some people don't. Again, using that Fusamat to keep the Heat and Bond consistent all the way through the flower. So we want to keep the shape as consistent as we can. Now, sometimes I also like to kind of turn it over, make sure it's, you know, really adhered on there. You don't want to get too much steam going because it'll wrinkle your image, and we don't want that. Our steam-a-seam is attached now onto the bloom. We're going to cut the flower out, okay? So that's our next step. You're going to repeat this also for each one of the flowers. There's 7 in your kit. We've cut out all of our tulips, ironed on the Heat and Bond. So you can just see there's nothing to it. I just kind of cut them all out, and then you're going to peel off that paper. You should have a nice kind of gloss like you had before you ironed it to the right side of the bloom. You kind of want to be careful with this because you don't really want it to fold over on itself. It can
get stuck, and then
it's really difficult and yucky to kind of messy. These are also great for using them as pressing sheets down the line. So you can see here it has the gloss on the back. You can see I did not, you know, go all the way to the edge of the flower. Not a big deal, okay? So we've got those all cut out. Another thing I wanted to talk about, you'll have like some leftover fabrics from cutting them out. These are really great colors. My friend Jen from Florida, she did a beautiful quilt and cut circles out from the background fabric. So you can do that and also fuse something like that. We did that with our bouquets and bubblies. Cut out little circles so it looked kind of festive and fun. We can do that too with this design. You're gonna have like all of these, you know, scraps and stuff left over. So think of some fun ways that you can use those too. So remember when I told you that each canvas is hand painted. So it's always gonna be different. This is the front of the canvas. You can see how there's different techniques I use: spray bottles, throwing paint, dumping it, kind of that watercolor style. I've already kind of examined this canvas, and I'm gonna lay it down so you can see how it lays out. A little bit of a subtle area here. So this is where I'm gonna put my bouquet, and I just use the floor for my design wall, basically. It's just kind of how I've always done it. So I will lay these tulips out for you and show you how to do that. So now I have my petals where I want them. My tulips. So each bloom, we've got all 7 of them placed. I'll be adding paint to this canvas. For the stems, you can also use a variety of different fabrics, and I will go over those with you in the next episode. So what you want to do at this point is you want to iron these all down. So if you don't want to move your canvas and you're comfortable with just getting your iron over here, you can just iron them on the floor and then go back over it on your ironing board. However you want to do it. You can pin these and then iron them after you unpin them. So this is going to be my arrangement. Okay everybody, I'm just going to go over here, and you can see I ironed everything down in the shape that I want. I'm going to be painting these, so I'm going to do another step, but this will get you started. The next thing you do, you're going to just sew around each bloom. Put it on your domestic machine, or you can do it even on a quilting machine if you have like a long arm or a sit down, whatever you want to do, whatever you're comfortable with, and just sew around the blooms to make sure everything is put on there nice and solid.